Congressman Harris.
Thank you very much, and welcome, Mr. Secretary. You know, someone who's been on a faculty for 30 years in the past, I appreciate, your experience in education as well. Let me bring up a couple of issues. First, just to reiterate what Ranking Member Cole said, I'm also concerned about the 1619 project working its way into some kind of federal curricula. I urge you to look. There's a Wall Street Journal piece written last year by Ms. Latasha Fields, a Black American from Chicago, who in the article is entitled Godparents and the 1619 Project. I just urge you to consider that and read that before you consider in any way adopting the 1619 project into any federal curricula. Now, I also want to follow up on some of the questioning from your confirmation hearing over in the Senate. Mr. Scott, Senator Tim Scott, who I think represents the feelings of many people who feel that the education system is failing them, asked you about the OSP program, the Opportunity Scholarship Voucher Program in Washington, D.C. You were non-committal at the time, in the beginning of February. I'd like to know if you have looked into it more and if now you are, in fact, support the idea of the Opportunity Scholarships in Washington, D.C.
Yes, thank you. So we are looking into that. I am getting more information. I want to make sure that there's a need, there's an interest in order to support it. I certainly want to protect the learning opportunities of those students that already are in it. Obviously, make sure we allow those students not to have additional disruptions in their programs. But yes, we are still looking at what the need is and what the demand is to then make decisions about how to fund it.
Well, Mr. Secretary, this is a subject I've been interested in for years. There's a waiting list for those. There are lotteries for those. How do you question the need or demand? I mean, your people at the Department of Education haven't told you that, in fact, there's always more need and demand than, in fact, available funding?
Well, again, meeting with my staff, I will find out more information, more specifics, but there's also been, some question about the funding that goes to it and whether the demand is there for that funding.
Well, we'll follow up. We'll follow up with you because my time is short. Of great concern to me is the revelation in the last few days that the CDC was in communication with teachers' unions to develop the medical guidelines for school reopening. Now, teachers' unions have a lot of teachers in them. I don't think they have a lot of doctors in them. And I think that decision should be made on scientific medical basis. But of interest is that Ms. Psaki in a press conference the other day said that the administration is going to involve, of course, the CDC, but they will involve the Department of Education in coming up with these CDC guidelines. So I want to know very briefly, are you in contact with the teachers' unions and in contact with the CDC and somehow communicating teachers' unions' demands to CDC using the Education Department?
Absolutely not. I do feel that my success in Connecticut with reopening schools was through a good, thorough partnership with our educators, our leaders, and then having conversations about how to safely reopen schools does involve a very strong connection with CDC and our health partners, but it also includes looking at what the needs are in the building, because ventilation and things like that are woefully under-resources should also be taken into account.
Just to get it straight, so you have not had email communication or other communications with the teachers' unions about the CDC reopening requirements going into the future?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. With regards to reopening schools, I think medically, there's pretty clear indication that that's something that should proceed, probably should have proceeded a while ago, and I appreciate that you did just that in Connecticut. Now, finally, I want to close following up on what Senator Rand Paul and Senator Romney asked you about, which is a topic of great interest to me as a daughter who is an NCAA All-American athlete. The testimony you gave in the Senate indicated that you actually support biological boys competing with girls in school sports. So I just want to get you on the record. This is the House side. That was the Senate side. Is that true?
Thank you, Dr. Harris, and congratulations to your daughter. I'm going to be very clear, and thank you.
Listen, I want to thank you that because there's no way she could compete against biologic males. She would never have gained All-American status, but I await your answer.
Yeah, and there's no way that I wouldn't support all students in our country to have opportunities to engage in school activities, which include extracurriculars. So, as I said then, I'll say it again,
biological boys should be competing with biological girls. That's a very specific way. I understand we can create transgender leagues. I don't mind. Should biological boys be competing with biological girls?
As I said then, I'll say again, transgender students deserve every opportunity to participate in all school activities.
Then I will take that as including to compete against biological girls. I'm disappointed. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Congresswoman Clark.